So onto your hormones. This is part one of your hormones. Hormone, just remember, is a bit different to your electrical signals that you get in your nervous system. Hormones are a chemical messenger that are produced in a gland and travel in the blood to a target organ. That could be worth 4 marks, okay? So chemical messenger 1, produced in your gland. Second mark, travels in the blood to target organ. One that I'm going to look at here now is called insulin. Insulin's job is to lower blood glucose levels. So basically, whenever you eat a meal, your glucose levels rise. If that continue to rise, you'll be in a constant state of hyperexcitation. So basically, what you need to do is lower that blood glucose levels. So what happens, first of all, if you eat a meal high in carbohydrates? Remember, carbohydrates are made from glucose. What happens is your blood glucose levels rise and there's a spike in the amount of glucose you have. So your pancreas, i.e. your gland, will produce insulin and then travels in the blood. If you can see back, it links the definition. Chemical messenger, i.e. the insulin, produced in the gland, which is your pancreas, and travels in the blood. It travels in the blood to the liver and muscle. They'll be your target organ of the liver and your muscle there as well. And what it'll do is it'll absorb more glucose for respiration. So then eventually the blood glucose levels will return to normal. Now, not all the glucose gets used up, as you can know about that. So some glucose will not be used up in respiration, but instead gets stored as glycogen. Remember, glycogen is a storage molecule of a complex carbohydrate that forms in your liver and your muscle. Alright, so that glycogen there is just there for storage. Then we go on to talk about diabetes. So diabetes is whenever you don't get enough insulin or it doesn't work properly. Remember, you always say both of them. So you don't get enough or it doesn't work properly. But unless they specify type 1 or type 2. If you have type 1 diabetes, it means you do not produce insulin that works effectively. Okay, so it does not work at all. How you treat this is normally by injections, medication-wise. And when you diagnose this is during early childhood. The reason being is because obviously whenever their blood glucose levels either rise or get too low, they go into certain states and conditions. Whereas type 2 is a wee bit different. Type 2 is whenever the insulin doesn't work properly. Okay, so you still have some, but it does not work properly. And how they usually treat it instead is, first of all, they'll tell you to change your diet and lifestyle changes, like exercise more, lower the amount of glucose in your diet. But then again, if that doesn't work, they'll resort to medication. And medication might be tablets, but it will also end up in injections as well. And it normally happens whenever you're an adult. Okay, so whenever your diet's not great, when you're an adult. So we go on to talk about symptoms then. So with symptoms of diabetes, you've got high blood glucose concentration. There could be some glucose in your urine, lethargic and thirsty. These are your mark scheme answers. But then this is different, so make sure you read the question. If they ask you the long-term impact, what happens? You end up with eye damage, you can go blind, you can have heart disease and strokes, and you can also have kidney damage. Alright, so there's your different symptoms you have with them for long-term impact. But remember, symptoms and long-term impact, make sure you read the questions. Another wee point just to remember is the impact it has on the healthcare system. Okay, so early diagnosis of type 2 can help reverse it so that people may be able to treat themselves by just changing their diet and lifestyle to stop them from getting type 2 diabetes. And it is very common as well. Part 2, hormones. Again, just a reminder, hormones is a chemical messenger produced in the gland, travels in the blood to a target organ. This time we're going on to talk about homeostasis. Homeostasis, if you think of the word home somewhere stable, stasis is a constant internal environment. So if they ask you what homeostasis is, it's the maintaining of a constant internal environment in the body. And this is a bit extra for proper function of cells and enzymes in response to internal or external changes. Osmo regulation, on the other hand, is all to do with water balance. Remember, if you see the word osmo, it means water, regulation, regulate something. So it's water balance that you have, and it's all down to your kidney. Okay, so your kidney's got 2 main jobs if they ask you what the kidney's function is. Number 1, excretion, so it's just removal of toxic waste, and number 2 is filtration, to filter out your blood as well. It's got 3 main layers. So the outer layer of your kidney is called the cortex. The next layer is your medulla, and then you have your pelvis, CMP. Okay, then it goes into your ureter, and the ureter attaches into your bladder, and then it goes out through your urethra. So make sure you don't mix up the ureter and the urethra. Remember, you're also going to have this on the other side as well. Okay, so again, just remember, you've got your cortex on the outside, your medulla, pelvis in here, the uter goes into the bladder connects them both of them together, and then you excrete it out. And remember again, your kidneys' two main jobs, excretion and filtration. It'll remove waste like urea, and for filtration allow for the reabsorption of water and glucose into the cortex. Now, this is all down to a hormone called ADH. You need to know the name of it. It's called antidiuretic hormone. So antidiuretic hormone happens whenever you either drink too much water or you have too little water in your body as well. So two different conditions. So for example, if your blood is too dilute, basically means you drank lots and lots of water, you've got lots of water in your body. What will happen is you'll produce less ADH. If they've got less ADH, that means less water gets reabsorbed and you get more dilute urine. So if you think about it, if you go to the toilet after you drink lots of water, your urine will be quite colour see-through, okay? It'll not be that yellowy tinge. Whereas if your blood's too concentrated, you haven't drank enough water, you get more ADH, which means more water gets reabsorbed because you're trying to keep as much water in your body as possible, and your urine becomes more concentrated, so it's that more yellowish colour. The next thing we talk about, the other hormone you have to know about in plants, is called auxin. So remember, auxin is produced in the meristem of the plant, i.e. the tip. So imagine if you plant here, it's the very, very tip it's produced, or in the shoot, it'll be the very tip of that shoot. And this auxin is responsible for a process called phototropism. Okay, phototropism, not photosynthesis. And what phototropism does, it's whenever the auxin is produced, it moves to the shaded side of the plant and causes cell elongation and growth. So for example, the sunlight's over here. This light will get touched on the tip of the plant, or will reach the tip of the plant, cause an auxin to produce. The auxin will move down the shaded side, because remember, no light's getting there. Shaded means no light getting onto it, and it causes the cells to elongate, so become longer. As you can see, the cell before auxin, after the auxin, it's just become longer, and I should still say roughly the same size.